Okay. So moving on to our next item this evening, it is the Mayor's Compensation Ordinance 1991-20. It is found on page 97 of your packet, and I will turn the floor over to our directors. Following their review, I will need a motion to open up the floor for discussion.
So this is an item that we've seen quite a few times and discussed quite a few times. This incorporates some of the information from the study session, actually particularly the number from the study session that was discussed. There isn't, we've added the ordinance, but there aren't any changes other than the number. This would be $72,000 per year with no medical or other benefits as compensation for the mayor.
Councilmember Morton.
I move to repeal ordinance number 1988-20 and establish a new salary for the mayor of $6,000 per month or $72,000 per year, consistent with a full-time mayor.
Second.
It has been moved by Councilmember Morton and seconded by Councilmember Gillespie to repeal ordinance number 1988-20 and establishing a new salary for the mayor of $6,000 per month or $72,000 per year, consistent with the full-time mayor. Councilmember Morton, would like to speak to your motion.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. So we have looked at this many times, as stated just a moment ago, and I believe that staff has shown plenty of documentation that this can be, that the budget can support this for the remainder of the year, and that we can look at this through the budget, the upcoming budget for the upcoming year, and budget that for next year. And so I don't see any problem with adding or moving forward with this right now and adding this to the budget for the rest of the remainder of this year.
Councilmember Gillespie, would like to speak to your second.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. So this issue was brought before us to council by Councilmember Morton. Council requested staff to provide data on how other cities ran and their salaries, which they did. Also, if there was funding available to have a salary increase for the mayor, which they did, and there was. This was discussed on July 6th council meeting, and again at the study session on July 13th, then again at the council meeting on July 20th. Further discussed at the budget retreat on August 6th. We discussed it again at the study session on August 10th. We have been provided the data that we requested. We have had an opportunity to hear from some of the citizens of Milton on this subject, and some were positive and some were negative. We also know that over time, job descriptions and duties and responsibilities change. The mayor's duties and responsibilities in the past may have only required a part-time mayor, but we all know that that is not the case today. Our mayor is doing the full workload of a full-time mayor. The majority of our council members agreed at our study session last week that we should establish a new salary for the mayor to be $72,000 per year. Our finance director provided us the data that there is money in our budget to make this happen. Our responsibilities as council members is to do what is best for the city of Milton while being mindful of the needs of our citizens. We have been elected by our citizens to look into all the facts and to make those tough decisions that we feel is in the best interest of our city. I believe that repealing ordinance number 1988-20 and establishing a new salary for the mayor in the amount of $72,000 per year is not only the right thing to do, but it is in the best interest of the city of Milton while still being mindful of the needs of our citizens. I know that we are in the middle of a crisis like we've never seen before. COVID-19 is here and has altered all of our lives. We have no control over how this pandemic is going to control how we live, or how we act as a society. But we have no idea how long this will last and how our lives will be for the unforeseen future. I do know that we as council members have the power and ability to correct something that should have been corrected a long time ago. So as we vote on repealing ordinance 1988-20, please think about this or how this will impact the future of Milton. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Gillespie. Mayor Pro Tem?
Thank you, Mayor. A very difficult item before us and a very appreciated item, well explored, well complimented, well commented on, and it tells us where we are today in our the growth of the city of Milton. I've been on council a little bit longer than most of you all, and I have to admit that this is the first time I have felt fully confident in the capabilities of the leadership in the city of Milton. It has always been a stressful job for the mayors, but if you don't have the capability to accomplish it, it was not justified to change compensation. We're at a point right now where I think our willingness to understand the degree of the endeavors the mayor puts in, the degree of compensation for the time that is being placed in that is very fitting. But we will not lose sight of the fact that it may not be the same with another administration or administrations in the future. This is where the strength of a council needs to stay, understanding that these things may change, these things may stay the same, we may grow in different ways, but it is our responsibility to recognize what those changes would be. So I applaud the efforts of everybody in putting this material together. I applaud all of the comments from the public. Difficult as it is to totally understand everybody's comments and articulate back in the appropriate manner. So if I have ever insulted somebody, I beg the forgiveness. But I think we're at a state and time in the city of Milton that the competency and the dedication of the mayor, it fully warrants the compensation that we are discussing tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Are there any other comments or questions from council? Did I see Councilmember Linden's thumb up or no? Yes, Councilmember Linden.
I did my raise hand, but I'm not sure if it's working on your end.
No.
Yeah, so my hand was up. That's what I was doing. So thank you, Mayor. You know, right now, mayors past and present have been subsidizing our city, and their families have, and that is the reality. Our current situation creates an atmosphere where only people that have the privilege and the resources to serve can serve, and that's a problem. Eventually, it becomes a fairness and equity issue. Over time, you know, I am in support of this. I always wasn't in support of how we were going about it or thought we went down a wrong path, but our city has grown, and the situation is that our mayor and her family are subsidizing the city, and that's not fair. For example, family on the Edgewood-Milton border today lost their home, and you know, I'd rather have a mayor being able to respond and do what he or she can as opposed to delivering pizzas to make ends meet. So that's kind of where I'm at. I appreciate everybody's comment and kicking this around. I think it needed it. Yeah, hope no one has ruffled feathers. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Linden. Councilmember Johnson?
Hey, thank you, Mayor. I appreciate the council. I've written my statement, and so I'm going to read it because I do better that way. The agenda, and some of it may repeat what Councilmember Gillespie stated in the agenda item, but I feel comfortable in sorting out my own thoughts as we go along. The agenda items highlight the time frame for the mayor's salary discussions. I am sharing my below comments for those citizens who were not able to listen in on the budget retreat on August 6th. The history, May 18th, the item of mayor's salary was added to the agenda. The mayor's salary was again discussed at July 6, 2020 meeting and again on July 13th study session. On July 20th, the agenda contained ordinance 1988-20, the mayor's salary, and an ordinance 1990-20, mayor's administrator salary. The ordinance 1988-20 was passed to raise the mayor's salary to $27,000 to begin immediately, and that is the one we're asking to repeal tonight. Ordinance 1990-20 to raise the salary for mayor as city administrator was removed for further study. On August 3rd, ordinance 1990-20 was withdrawn to the budget retreat of August 6th. On August 6th, the city budget retreat discussed the mayor's role and salary. At that budget retreat, I provided an Excel spreadsheet which expanded on the city's information to the council that expanded it to 30 cities in Pierce County that included the following info that I was able to find online or via email from the city. And please note, the city was not able to validate my research, so there could be errors in it, but I tried to be as exact as I could. And so it had test valuation, tax levy, the budget, the form of government, the population, the geographic size, the number of employees, utilities, city administrator, the use of a salary commission, a mayor section in their municipal code, a mayor and city council monthly and yearly salary and benefits. I also provided at that time, based on the Office of Personnel Management, the concept of 20-80 hours a year and a decision to trying to come to a level of a salary we might feel appropriate for Milton. And I listed 2, 4, 6, about 8 cities, and their salaries per hour ranged from $42 up to about $79 to $80. Edgewood's came out to about $47 an hour. Now we don't, and our city uses that for our employees, but I'm just looking for what could we do. So on August 10th, the ordinance 1990-20 was added to the agenda in the afternoon of the council meeting for clarification as to direction for staff and the level of the salary. At that meeting, I mentioned the town of Coopville's ordinance, which stated, whereas the town council reserves the right to adjust the annual salary of the mayor with the understanding that all salary adjustments shall remain effective only through the end of the term of the current mayor. And the paragraph 2 of their code defined the salary adjustment. The town council reserves the right to adjust the annual salary of the mayor in the future with the understanding that all salary adjustments shall remain effective only through the end of the term of the current mayor, and that no compensation or benefits shall be payable to the mayor elected to the next term of office other than the monthly salary of $3,000 as previously set in their ordinance. It was noted by others that this approach was considered a slippery slope. I brought up the comments. The reason I brought up the comments was to have council address and fully discuss all the options discussed between May 8th and August 6th. We've gone round and around. The language style of Coopville sounded no different to me than the original language of the Milton Ordinance of 1990-20 brought to council. The meaning was the same, a sunset clause and a base salary for the mayor's position. Ordinance 1990-20 on July 20th stated, the mayor shall receive a total annualized salary of $93,700 and insurance benefits to other regular non-representative employees of the city. The salary shall consist of an annualized salary of $27,000 or $2,250 per month for the ceremonial and other duties of the position of mayor, and an additional component of $66,700 of $5,558 per month to fulfill the role of city administrator. The additional component of $5,558 per month in the provision of insurance benefits will expire at midnight on December 31st, 2021. Thus, my reason for bringing again the town of Coopville up last week was to seek clarity from the council as to no sunset or yes, a sunset of the mayor position salary, and to clarify the view of council that pay would not include benefits at this time. And it seems to me that we have really discussed a lot of stuff. We have been thorough. I don't think a salary commission could have done any better than this council did. But we also recognize, I feel, as my colleagues in the city council, that the city of Milton has operated under and accepts the strong mayor government as defined in the definition in the RCW 35A-12-100. This is a positive move for the city of Milton to finally recognize our form of government is a strong mayor and pay that position accordingly. And with the discussion on August 10th, the city council suggested the salary level of $72,000 without benefits for the mayor position. This mayor has worked at $18,000 a year, which breaks down to $8.65 an hour, based on a concept of 2,080 hours worked in a year. When you break down the salary of commitment of time to Milton, this has been wrong for many, many years. Looking at $35 an hour, just about $35 an hour in this current proposal of $72,000 is not out of line to have for a mayor who is functioning as defined in our RCW as the chief executive and administrative officer of Milton, since we defined our mayor through that RCW. We do not define our mayor through a Milton Municipal Code. Mayor Sherrill clearly is the role model for any mayors of Milton in the future. Her dedication to the city, the choices in hiring, and the efficiency of the city administration is to be commended. I also believe the citizens of Milton, understanding what it means to have a positive, strong mayor form of government, will go beyond and pick someone based not on their personality in the far future, as people have suggested, but to select a person who can continue the atmosphere of positive government in Milton. She works nonstop for the citizenry. Her vision is for Milton works for all the citizens. She works closely with her administrators and seeks opinions from all. Also discussed at the August 10th study section, it was suggested to have a salary commission in the future. The mayor stated she would favor a salary commission in the future if that's what the council wanted. So the question is, after we approve this, is this council want an ordinance to come back for next year to have a salary commission in the future, 4 years from now or whatever? That's still a discussion we have to have. I have consistently said I support the mayor. I voted yes on 1988-20 when we approved immediately the $27,000 annual for the mayor position. However, in my mind, I felt the remainder stated in 1990-20 would be on the 2021 budget for activation on January 1st, 2021. However, recently, someone called me out regarding my post on Facebook, where I wrote how bad the city of Seattle negatively treated the chief of police by reducing her salary by 40%, but I would not approve an increase for a mayor who's doing beyond her job. I did approve a partial increase for the mayor to acknowledge the task she had taken on. And I also, again, reiterate, I recognize the leadership she has provided to our city. But I also believe all voices need to be expressed if heard from the citizens, whether yay or nay, and that's what I've always tried to do. Since being on council, I have consistently voiced opposing views based on input from citizens. All pros and cons need to be questioned before a decision to vote is called for. I am very proud to be part of this council and the hard work and the respect we have for each other, regardless of our opinions. This and the city administration is why Milton is shining now and people want to move here. We need to keep positivity going strong as we all work making Milton the best little city on the North Hill. I will let go of my resistance to the full increase to begin now and not in January 2021 because of my respect for the mayor and the choice she made to put aside her own personal business to devote fully to the city of Milton. And I pray and I hope that the budget will continue to be positive, as we have been learning from our great finance director. And my fears during this pandemic are shown to be wrong. And I did hear on the news that everything's going to be fun and the stock market's way up. So I support this. It's been hard for me because of my own, the way I do with budgets, but I have faith in it. And 865 for mayors, even past mayors, it's been wrong for a long time. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Johnson. Councilmember Whitaker?
Thank you. I just wanted to say that this is something kind of like the electric rates increase is something that should have come a long time ago. And if this would have been done in the past incrementally, it wouldn't seem like such a large impact on the city. I think if a mayor is working full-time and really supporting the city, they should be paid for that. I agree with Councilman, I believe, was it Gillespie who said, and also Lyndon, that you can't work for free, basically. I mean, that's not fair. That's the city just exploiting, the mayor in this case. So I am for this. The management team has shown that we do have the money to pay for it. I'll be very interested to see in next year's budget if we will still be able to afford it. But yeah, as I said in the last council meeting, I was kind of hemming and hawing, and I've been thinking about this, and I support it.
Thank you, Councilmember Whitaker. Any other, Councilmember Peretti?
Thank you. And I really appreciate the comments that all are being made, because when I read through the letters and I read through comments, I really believe we have done a due diligence in this process. I believe everybody has taken a hard look at it. The spreadsheets that I've reviewed, I know have been some of the best ones I've seen, and I've done salary surveys in my career as an HR executive at different times. And I know the work has been diligent, and it's been good, and it's been the right thing to go down this path. I think $34.61 an hour is probably on the low end, and I honor the opportunity to have a salary commission to look at that. And I think when that happens, the lights will come off maybe on some folks saying, hey, yeah, we are underpaying even now, maybe, as we go forward. When you look at and you compare this to other cities and other municipalities around, one thing I think back to, and I think about our current mayor, when I was working for the city in administration there, I remember when we had our fire up here on the hill, and that was a terrible event. But I'll always remember that the day after, walking through there with our current mayor, who wasn't even our mayor at that time, and picking up the medications that she needed to take to all the residents that were there. And I thought during that time, you know what, this is somebody that really needs to be part of Milton here, because that's showing a concern when she had no reason even to be concerned at that time. And so I think this is something that's due to in the city of Milton. I have talked this over with numerous people that I'm associated with around in the city and different elements that I'm involved with. And very little negative, some negative, just be concern of budget and just the times that we're in with the pandemic, but mostly positive about, then more of shock that we were at that level than not, understanding the type of administration and a strong mayor of government. So I'm fully 100% behind this agenda item, and I look forward to as we move forward in Milton.
Thank you, Councilor Peretti. Any second comments or questions? Councilmember Whitaker, your cat is showing an appearance this evening. It's a black cat. I don't know if that's a good sign or not.
You see nothing.
Are there any other additional questions, comments, thoughts before we take a vote? Thanks for the humor there. Okay, so I'm going to call for a vote then. It has been moved by Councilmember Morton and seconded by Councilmember Gillespie to repeal ordinance number 1988-20 and establish a new salary for the mayor of $6,000 per month or $72,000 per year, consistent with a full-time mayor. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried 7-0. Out of the fear of getting emotional, I think I'll let council do their reports first and then I'll talk. So, we're going to move on to council reports and we're going to start with Councilmember Whitaker.
Thank you. And I'll be the first one to say I'm glad to see how once again we all came together and with giving the data that we were given, that we were able to all come together and come to a consensus and pass the increase for the mayor. I like that when that can happen, when you can actually make a decision with you know, the data that you have currently. And I'm glad to see that. I'm glad we moved past that and hopefully we deal with other issues that come up with this council. We deal with it just as well as we did with that one. On a smaller note, I'm glad to see the lease agreements that we have now with East Pierce Fire and Rescue. That's exciting. We just kind of tightens our relationship with them. And I'm glad that the city, once again, like I said earlier, is able to step in and help East Pierce Fire and Rescue, help them out where they need the help, for instance, in this case with accommodations.
Thank you, Councilmember Whitaker.
Thank you.
Councilmember Peretti.
Thank you, Mayor. I want to tip my hat to the citizens of Milton in how they are responding to the pandemic that we're having, especially in our parks. I have the opportunity to walk the Milton Trail and actually see the different parks. And it seems like there is actually some spacing and purposeful protection going on in our parks that I've noticed. And maybe it's drawn to me because I've had this job over by a 5-mile lake for the last few weeks. And I've noticed that Federal Way has had to shut down the park there. They've had to shut down Steel Lake. They've had to do other things because just the mode of what's going on in the parks and the lack of respect of what's happening in our society right now. So my hat is off to the citizens because I really noticed that there seems to be that type of element going on. And it's not all the time, but it seems so much better that we're not having to make moves of shutting down our parks. And we're not having to make moves to do different things like that. So I really appreciate that. And I really want to thank the council also for working diligently as they did through the process that we've gone over the last month or so with the salary survey and different things. It was really a nice thing to see how opposing opinions were able to be discussed and to be able to kind of hammer back and forth and talk about, but there was never hurt feelings and never bad vibes about it, but it's just that we all wanted to make sure that we did what we needed to do. So I appreciate that too. Thank you.
Councilmember Johnson.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to compliment Director Afzali for offering to contact a citizen who texted me recently again, or another one on the solar energy net metering program. And he texted me today and the director said he would follow up with that individual in honoring my request to inform them on the net metering, what Milton is doing. I'd also again like to thank him for an email today that I had his response, because this past week, it has to do with safety issues with speeding and walkers. And a lot of people are walking all through the city now. And I see people in our neighborhood that will walk, down towards Dave's, up to the park, go on 15th, cross Taylor, go over to Yuma and use those new sidewalks on the Yuma side that are between 14th and 10th. And I had my own personal experience last week. A friend and I were walking and we got across on the Yuma sidewalk And we stand there and we look both ways and we listen and I have my dog with me. And as soon as we stepped off the curb, this black SUV came speeding up over that hill. We had to run out of the upcoming lane. He never slowed down. He never acknowledged us as off, and we had to get across, the halfway point to keep from being hit. My concern is because of those homes on that side also when they come in, and I know that's the Edgewood side. So I'm posing a question, and is there any possibility for a partnership between Edgewood and Milton that it can address the speeding? Because late at night, we also hear those like sports cars going up at 2 o'clock in the morning from the Fife area. They'll come straight up, keep running up, and you can hear their engines. But I am concerned for when those homes get filled up and they have children in them and young people in them, that those cars are, it's pretend, it just worries me. And he did address that. He said he could do something to look at it with the code, not the code, but putting the thing we've been using all around on speed and number of cars. But other neighbors have come to me and said, can we not do something about the speeding cars that are coming up? And I don't know if those cars are part of the groups down in Fife that are doing Fast and the Furious or what. But this one was, that day just happened to be a big black SUV. So that's about all I have. And unfortunately, you can put up all the speed signs you want, and we can't put up anything else because it's not a school zone. But it's sad that people tend to speed up that street. Thank you, that's it.
Councilmember Gillespie?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. I just kind of want to restate kind of what Councilmember Whitaker was talking about. I am really proud and happy with how council worked with this project. The extra research Councilmember Johnson put in, bringing that information to us, the staff, everybody working together, and worked hard to make sure that we did get this accomplished. And so thank all council members and staff for all the effort in this. Thank you.
Councilmember Morton?
Thank you, Mayor. Just a couple of items. I too want to say thank you to everyone that participated in this, from the staff to the council, especially Councilmember Johnson with all the research that she did, and everyone else that provided information, all of the citizen comments that came in from everyone on this, on the mayor's topic, the mayor's compensation. It was definitely something we spent a lot of time on, a lot of effort on, but I'm happy with the result, and we'll definitely be looking at it again as we move forward, whether that be with the salary commission or through the budget process. So the second item, little sad to see this last weekend go by without Milton Days. You know, it was, again, the hottest weekend of the year, as Milton Days usually is. And spent a little time up at the park this weekend doing a little work on the yarn bomb that my wife did on the tennis court fence there. Doing a little repair work on what's left of it after somebody took down the rainbow. We removed some of the remnants of that and repaired some of the flowers and that sort of thing. Got home and we were on Facebook and realized it was exactly 1 day to the 1 year to the day, and actually almost to the hour that when we had put that up. So that was kind of just coincidental. Had no idea. So that was just kind of a weird coincidence, but just a little sad just to see Milton, the day go by without, or the weekend go by without Milton Days. So that's it.
Councilmember Linden?
Thanks, Mayor. Yeah, again, just like everybody else is saying, I appreciate everybody's work and due diligence, and especially the citizens, and the staff and just everybody. So thank you for the process and our eventual outcome. Just on what Councilmember Johnson was saying about Yuma, just to add an additional point to that, that street's a little confusing because as you're going up it, you know, it's 35 and then it's 25 and back to 35. So some coordination with Edgewood, if we could get it all the way 25, might help with that also. So just food for thought. And yeah, nothing really to report. Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem?
Thank you, Mayor. What I'd like to say is thank you, everyone, for your thoughtfulness, your courtesy, your kindness, your insight, and your willingness to talk a very complicated issue through. I'm pleased to be a member of your group. Just a little side note, I'm going to ask this of Nick Azali. I've fielded quite a few questions about tainted water on Yuma, Xavier, 10th, very close to Yuma and so forth. There's a kind of a cluster there of what I believe may be the result of the construction taking place in Edgewood. I don't know what the protocols are for anybody tapping into the water system, and I understand we're feeding that development. It's Milton water. So just be aware, you may see more comments about it. I do ask people to comment to the city, but in most cases, it clears up within a few minutes when somebody posts this and so forth. They see a little tainted water and it disappears. So if it is a product of the construction and so forth, maybe just a notice from the city saying this is an intermittent issue, aware of, and be cautious, let your water drain a little bit, and things will take care of themselves. I have a sad note, and I'm not sure if I should even say this, although I do know the gentleman quite well, and I know the family. Rob McDonald has had an accident. He is in the hospital. He's doing well. Santa Claus may not be the same Santa Claus. He may not sit on his lap this year, but he'll be back to ingratiate all of us with his presence. So a little prayer, a little moment for him would be appreciated. And that's what I have to say. Thanks.
Well, Council, I think you got my email that I sent out last week about our arson investigation at the Milton Apartments in 10th. We did have 2 officers that did sustain minor injuries, apprehending the suspect in Federal Way. Further investigation, this was domestic violence related, but it endangered the entire apartment complex. And so we're very thankful that there weren't more people hurt and that we were able to get the fire extinguished. Other than that, we continue to stay busy. We helped with the fire department today with off of 23rd. We had to shut down Taylor Street completely while they fought fire, and there was a fire response from all over the county. From my understanding, that it is a total loss. Regarding the speeding of Taylor, the one thing I will tell you, again, this is symptomatic of the external pressure that we're getting from Federal Way and Fife and Puyallup, and the people that you see and the descriptions that you're giving me are people that are driving in a reckless, negligent, criminal manner. And, you know, I will continue to work with the director of Public Works and see whether or not there's any other traffic calming things. It might end up that we end up putting speed humps, because these people that are doing this and doing it at 2 o'clock in the morning, I can tell you a lot of these people use Milton as a thoroughfare to escape crimes that are being committed in these other jurisdictions. And so we do get our fair share of reckless criminal drivers. There's a person that speeds, And there's the people that speeding to get away from things that they've been doing in other jurisdictions. And unfortunately, we are like a turnpike here as far as once they come into the city, they try to get through our city as quick as possible. And again, it's always a challenge. As you know, we've had some fatality accidents on the packed highway, and we want to try to make sure that we don't have any pedestrian fatalities up in the city of Milton, but we are very, very busy. So again, if you at all can get a description, if you have a particular person that comes through at a particular time, we've dealt with individuals that are habitual, but for the most part, this is just symptomatic of the external pressures that are going on all around us, where they're fleeing other places and going through our city recklessly.
That's it? Okay. Director Abzali?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just a few things quickly to share with the council. One of them actually would be our application that we submitted. Just want to keep you in the loop that we had an application submitted to Transportation Improvement Board for Porter Way. As you see, actually, what Porter Way is the limits of Porter Way between 5 Way to Milton Way. The photos as you see here, let me just grab this one. The photo as you see here actually shows how narrow the roadway is. So we're going to be widening where we have the hill. Of course, requires a retaining wall. We're going to move the center lane. So hopefully we'll provide wider travel lanes as well as having shoulders for the safety of the motorists and non-motorized. We're requesting actually $666,000 with our 10% match. The total cost of the project, it is about $740,000. Keeping our fingers crossed. As you know, this year TIB has less money than last year due to COVID-19. But our hope here is at least if you don't get the funding, we will learn how we did in terms of our application score and how we can improve it for the future. Second items, just bear with me, sorry here. The second one actually, as Councilmember Johnson brought it up, and as well as Chief was talking about some of the challenges we have in our arterials and local streets, both of them. We recently purchased this litter machine over here, and we collect the data. We usually lock it to a pole, make sure it's not stolen. And we collect actually a lot of information. I just example of those. If you see 2 of these hoses there, they're usually about 4 feet apart. Not they only collect the data in terms of the volume, but also give us the speed, the classification of the vehicle, so we get a better sense who's traveling there. And by having that information, we would have a better sense what the problems are and how we need to deal with this problem. We follow MUTCD manual on traffic control devices. The Yuma Street that was brought up is a great example and requires collaboration among a number of agencies, us with City of Edgewood, with City of Fife. I've already reached out to public works directors for those cities. I'd like to do a quarter study to tackle this problem, not only at the local level, but more at the regional level. The other part of our study would be doing a license plate study to have a better understanding of the through traffic, especially for local streets. Local streets are built to serve the local residents and businesses, homeowners and businesses. So we want to make sure where that traffic is coming and what type of the devices, what type of the measures, what type of the strategies we can implement to make sure those are effective. One of the things perhaps you noticed close to City Hall, this is the corner of Kent Street, close to the crossing of the trail right there. Our crew has been doing quite a bit of work there. The area is getting clear now, almost completely clear. And we need probably another 20 cubic yards to the hole that is there to make sure that not only we put in the right type of the soil, but also we compact that. And in the future, this area can be used for some parking spaces. We are still waiting to hear from WashDOT for the plans that we have for the sidewalk improvements. This is a $300,000 construction. And hopefully as soon as we get the blessing from WashDOT, we're gonna advertise the project and hopefully get it built this year. The last item I would like to share with you folks, as you know, WashDOT is gonna be closing I-5 next, not this Friday, next Friday, the 29th and the 28th. and that the closure is going to be significant. The main reason for that is, as you know, I'm moving my cursor. The existing 7-yard overpass is right in here. It's going to be removed next year, but they're going to actually install the new overpass just a little bit to the south west of it. They're going to install about 10, I think it's about 10 or 11 girders. Those are bridge girders. These are huge girders. These are about 220 to 230. So there won't be any actually a structure in the middle. If you drive on I-5, probably you see that the structures are almost there. So they're ready to put those girders in place. There will be more information to come your way. I just received those this afternoon from WashDOT. I will coordinate with Madam Mayor to get this information on the website. I think we already have some good information on the website, but this detailed map provides some detours. One thing I think I want to bring to everybody's attention as the C99 is colored and cyan color here and blue color. So it's going to carry a lot of traffic when I-5 is closed. Especially if that traffic is a local traffic. If it's a regional traffic, they're encouraging WashDOT folks to use 167 and also 512. But as we know, there's going to be a lot of traffic is going to be using 99. That's all I have to share with everyone. Thank you.
Just a couple of things for me, Council. If you can get on your radar, we're looking at having a fall council retreat. I know we normally only have one in the beginning of the year, but there's some items that we want to bring forth. Looking at the remainder of the year, we have pretty packed council meetings. And so there's just a couple of things we think we could get accomplished in a retreat to save some time and continue to get work done. Our Thursdays at 10 typically seem to be the sweet spot for council. So if you could just look at your calendar over the next couple of weeks and maybe put some dates together that you're available in, mid to late September, early October time, that would be helpful. As Councilor Morton said, it was kind of sad this weekend to not have Milton Days. I was at the park on Friday and was up at the memorial, and I looked down and it was just weird not to see everyone setting up and preparing for Milton Days. So looking forward to Milton Days next year. In regards to National Night Out, Craft Bazaar, and tree lighting, looking grim, to be honest. So we will be making some decisions here in the next couple of weeks regarding National Night Out and the Craft Bazaar. We'll probably prolong the tree lighting just a little bit longer. OPMA extension, we won't know about that until September 1st. Unfortunately, I have no inside information as far as where Washington State is going next. So we are just going with the flow on reopening City Hall, holding council meetings, boards and commission meetings, events. Actually become quite depressing, if I have to be completely honest. I just want to reopen. So continue to do what you can to prevent the spread of COVID, and hopefully we'll be open soon. We'll be working with the school district to see what's happening with the lunch program, so we'll update the community on that as we get more information. Again, in the next week or so, please share any information that we put out regarding the utility assistant program. We want to make sure that everyone has an opportunity to apply for that qualifies. I don't know if we mentioned it at a past meeting, but we do want to let you know that Detective Camden, after over 20 years with our department, is retiring at the end of this month. Her last day is the 28th, so if you get a chance to give her a call or send an email thanking her for her service, she will be missed. And hopefully we'll get another female hired on to our department here, but our only female is leaving us. In regards to the mayor's compensation, I just want to thank all of you for your hard work on this. I know it's not easy. I know it's hard to be accused of not doing your job or knowing your job or not being transparent or rushing or being unethical. I mean, those are all hard things here. I think tonight we took a huge step forward in the right direction. You all know it's no secret that my goal here, my first term, is just to get things cleaned up and secure our future. And I think council tonight made a huge decision that will secure that Milton will continue to move forward in the right direction for the future. So I do want to thank you for that. I think I'll just leave it at that. And so again, if you could just get some dates ready for me, that would be wonderful. We'll keep you posted on the next council meeting at OPMA. And I hope everyone's enjoying the weather right now. Or not, it's pretty hot out there. So council, with that, seeing that all of our items have been concluded, I do want to adjourn this meeting at 7. That's right, it's not 7. My screen's frozen, I apologize. 8:20 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.